Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, man. I'm coming off of a hell of a weekend. Man, I tell you, it couldn't have been better. Hanging out with the boys of Survivor Series, man. The farewell of the Undertaker, as well as a hell of a card went down, as well a hell of a main event. Drew McIntyre. And that man, Roman Reigns. What a fight, man! Two heavyweights. That's just the way I like to see it. Did I see any leg pops? I don't think I saw one leg pop. Maybe one. Drew might have did one leg pop on the Claymore, something like that. Other than that, man, it was a heavyweight matchup. Drew McIntyre coming in at 265 pounds, 6'4". Roman Reigns coming in at 258 pounds, 6'3" inches tall, and at 6'3.5". 6'3 3/4". Man, now the guys
every quarter inch counts.
No, it's on paper, man. It was a match made in heaven. It was an even match, but we know what happened at the end, man. But we're gonna talk about that, man. How you doing, Doc? How you feel, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, Book. I'm feeling good. I'm on the road right now myself. I'm in Hot Springs, Arkansas, taking in some nature sights. I'm enjoying it right now. I've learned a lot about this town, by the way, that I never really knew anything about Hot Springs until I came here. And did you know, here's a little fun fact for you. This was Al Capone's home away from home.
Oh, really?
Did you know that? He would come to Hot Springs, and there was like a truce amongst all the gangsters. They would all come down here, like from different crime families, and they'd be walking down the street, and it was like Switzerland if you were in Hot Springs. So if you see your enemy on the street, you just kind of look at him, keep it moving. No violence ever came out, and they'd all go to those the bathhouses.
Yeah,
the bathhouses in the springs, right?
Go there and smoke and do the opium.
Well, it wasn't an opium den. It was a bathhouse. So, I mean, the springs here, the name says it, but they're actually hot. So they come out of the ground. The water comes out like 140 degrees. You know what I mean? Yeah, so they said they used to take baths back in the day in those things. It's pretty cool stuff.
Like
I didn't know.
Colorado too, and in certain places in Colorado, I've actually been to back in the day when I was on the road, experiencing just life, man. But man, I got a bad experience, man, as far as Arizona go, man. I have one of my worst experiences of all times. Arizona, bad memories come to mind. When I think about Arizona, you know.
Well, good thing I'm in Arkansas.
Oh,
you're good. But what was cool was there was this hotel that Capone would stay at, and he actually would rent out the whole 4th floor of this hotel. Would stay there. He stayed in the same suite every time, and he had a tunnel built that would go from his room underground, under the street, to this club across the street. And he'd come through the tunnel, through the back door, so he'd make a grand entrance.
I tell you, man, Arkansas, you know, Capone made his business in Chicago.
Right.
It does seem like very gangsterish in Arkansas.
It doesn't.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm thinking. Arizona.
It was weird because every other shop has something Capone themed in it, right? There's like the Capone wine. There's the Gangster Museum. There's the Wax Museum of Capone and all the other gangsters. So it was the spot to come to. I just don't know why they decided, you know what sounds like the spot we need to hit? Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
You know, the springs, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were trying to create something, you know, bring the life there, you know what I mean? You know, gangs move to other places. Next thing you know, it's an uprising. You know, there's all kind of stuff
like
going
the New York Mafia went to Miami, right? They made Miami their home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. But nah, man, like I say, for me, man, big weekend coming up. But we got a big weekend coming up here in a couple of weeks, man. Errol Spence, the truth, Errol Spence Jr., man. He's going to be taking on Danny Garcia, you know, Philly boy, man. Philly's own Danny Garcia. Going down on the 5th, man, December 5th. You guys do not want to miss this thing. AT&T Stadium. Danny Garcia, you know, bad man, as well as Errol Spence coming off of, you know, the biggest win of his career, as well as the biggest loss, perhaps, of his life in that car accident. You know, I don't know how fast he was going in that Ferrari, but flipped up. I don't know how many times, flew up out of it, landed in the street, and now he's back inside the square circle and is going down on the 5th, man. Live, only on pay-per-view, guys. So make sure you get it, man, because it's going to be good.
Yeah, you can buy it right now on foxsports.com/pay-per-view. Watch it on any screen you want. That's, again, December the 5th. It all goes down live on pay-per-view. Earl the Spence Truth versus Danny Swift Garcia. It's gonna be awesome, book.
No, man, I'm really looking forward to this fight because it's gonna tell a story. It's gonna tell a story as far as if Errol Spence is, still the truth. We talk about it all the time, as far as, time off is one's worst enemy. He haven't had that much time off, man, but he went through a horrific incident as far as, flipping throughout the streets of Dallas, in his Ferrari and to find himself pretty much in a coma, to wake up wondering what happened, don't even remember anything that happened. And you wonder, if he didn't remember that, could this be a temporary amnesia where he forget, to slip, when he's supposed to, he forget to jab properly. You know what I mean? Is his footwork still going to be the same? Is that rhythm and timing is still going to be on beat? We really, don't know. That's a question mark as far as Errol Spence. But we do know one thing: Danny Garcia, this brother, he got something to prove. He's the guy that really, Danny Garcia still could have an undefeated record. He really could. Certain here nor there as far as, not enough output, sitting back and waiting, knowing that he got that power in both hands and he can knock somebody out at any moment's notice, and boom, it don't happen. And next thing you know, we're at the end of the 12th round and you lose by a slim margin on the card. And that's the way Danny Garcia has lost his fight. None of them has been by knockout. None of them have been by blowout or anything like that. So this is definitely going to be a test for Errol Spence coming back to defend, the unification, championship against a guy like Dan. It's going to be good, man. And my thing is I'm still debating, man. I know we got the vaccine now.
Coming.
Moderna, Pfizer, everybody's, who else? Somebody else just came out with one, didn't he? So I'm taking them all. Okay. That's what it's going to be like. Somebody
extra vaccinated.
Like somebody tried to vote 3-4 times. I'm getting all the vaccines. You know what I mean? I don't care. You ain't gonna even tell them. They ain't gonna tell them if I took the Moderna. They ain't gonna tell them if I took the Pfizer or the Johnson & Johnson. You know what I mean? If they got 5 of them out there, I'm taking them all. And hopefully we'll be over this pandemic by the first quarter of next year. And I can feel a little bit more comfortable. But I'm thinking about going, man. But I'm still a little bit on the fence as far as, do I want to get out there and mix it up a little bit?
I hear you. And I was almost hoping that not only for the 5th it'd be ready to go, the 28th this weekend it'd be ready to go after Thanksgiving, getting to see Mike Tyson make that walk again against Roy Jones Jr. That would have been a magnetic one to be in witness for. I know you've seen a Tyson fight or two in your life before. You were in Vegas for a very famous Mike Tyson fight, or infamous fight, I should say. But see him make that walk, and to see Mike, because I don't know if you've been seeing the pictures from the last couple of days. Mike looks, I don't know. I know they're in VADA, which is voluntary testing, and I wonder how much he's volunteering, because Mike looks great. Mike looks so great.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. How old Mike right now? 51. Something like that.
No, 55, 54. He's 54.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you right now. He owns something. Because he's more jacked than I am. I ain't saying I want anything or anything like that. But when you get to around this age, you got to make sure you do the right things. You got to make sure you see the right people in order for you not to go over the top. You know what I mean? And Mike Tyson has been one of those guys. We could always say Mike Tyson has been a clean athlete. Okay, Mike Tyson is, he fought in the heyday of, when boxing was at its height, and when guys were, getting busted back then, they were getting busted. And Mike Tyson, he just wasn't one of those guys that ever came up on the list as far as being a guy that was using an enhancement or anything like that. Now, if I was Mike Tyson or if I was Roy Jones, I'd say, look, man, let's meet, let's talk. All right, well, how this gonna go? All right, all right. Can we, I mean, because it's hard for me to train right now. You know what I mean? I need
the Nugenics only do so much.
I need a booster. You need one too. You know what I mean? We got to make this thing work. So it might be a voluntary, deal as far as, man, we're going to go out here and make this thing work. Hey, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back in the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, man, I'm serious, man. I'm serious about this. As far as this fight goes, this Tyson Jones fight, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and I'm really leaning to the side of Mike Tyson landing a hard shot and something could go wrong in this fight. I don't want to see Roy Jones get hurt. And I really think that's what's going to happen in this fight. Unless Roy Jones, then again, Roy Jones is a professional. He's a guy that's been around for a long time, and I'm sure if Roy Jones see the writing on the wall, he might just slip, a knee, something, anything could happen. Man, let me get up out of here. It might be one of those type of if he's smart, because I really feel like Mike Tyson still got something left in the old body, especially for a guy like Roy Jones. I've watched Roy Jones' last couple of fights. One of them was about a year ago or so, and it was like a guy that was like trained at the corner gym or something like that. It was no one near world-class caliber, and Roy Jones didn't look anywhere near the Roy Jones of old. So of course, we haven't seen Mike Tyson in there in quite some time, too. The last time we saw Mike Tyson in the ring, he was getting pummeled, by
like 15, 14 years ago, right?
Yeah, but then again, it was by a no-name guy, a guy that, couldn't beat no one near top 10 caliber of fighters, guys that you never heard from ever again after the Mike Tyson fight, because they probably made a career off of that one win. But I tell you, after being off for that amount of time, man, it definitely can give you a certain drive. And I'm not saying that Mike is going to come back with that certain drive or anything like that. Nowhere near a guy like, George Foreman. George Foreman, he retired, 30, something like that. Came back at 40. So he was a relatively young man. He was,
right.
He had took some shots, but like with the Ron Lyle fight, but he hadn't been beat up to the point to where it was no point of return. And when as well, when George came back, the competition had went down. It hadn't gone up. You know what I mean? So other than the Holyfields of the world, other than the Mike Tysons of the world, all the rest of them guys were pretty much tomato cans. And George Foreman went through all of them, including Michael Moore. So I don't see that being Mike Tyson coming back, but I do see Mike getting past this fight with Roy Jones relatively easy. That's just my pick.
I agree with you.
Two rounds.
Two rounds? Two for 2 out of the 8? It's only going to go 2 rounds?
Well, I mean, Roy can run for a round.
Right.
Roy legs were gonna carry him at least for 1 round. And Mike Tyson, no, he can't be out there for more than 2 rounds. Right?
He said, "I've only been putting up 10-second clips, y'all."
Exactly my point. You know what I mean?
What do you want from me?
So he gonna have to get if he gonna get him out of there, it's gotta be early. It can't be one of these things where Mike Tyson out there dancing around. We've seen Mike Tyson in fights where he had to dance around with guys in his prime and it didn't work out for him. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's gonna be the ticket, the roadmap to success in a fight like this.
Would it be a bummer if it went to the decision? Like if it went to the judges' cards, would it be a letdown? Because I feel like even though these guys are older now, we're all tuning in to see if Tyson can knock somebody out, right? I mean, that's really the appeal of this fight. Can Mike Tyson at 54, 55 years old, 15 years out of the ring, does he still got it? Is he still, Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, the baddest man on the planet? And if it goes to the cards, I feel like the collective air will be let out and everyone's gonna be like, oh man, okay.
The thing is, like I say, Mike can't fight 8 rounds.
So there's no way.
There's no way. Somebody's gotta both of them fall out before 8 rounds.
I don't know. Remember, and I'm not making a comparative, I'm just saying, based on age and maybe athleticism, Dada and Kimbo went the distance.
Those guys, like I said, young guys, still got a little bit of, youth in their bodies, guys fighting for totally different reasons. I don't think Mike Tyson can even think about going 8 rounds. If you heard what Mike said, this thing was supposed to be an exhibition. It was supposed to be a 3-round exhibition, and then it turned to like a 5-round something, and then it turned into a 8-round fight, and then it's for a belt.
Yeah, there's judges and everything. Yeah,
exactly. So all of that pretty much went out of the window. As far as this being a friendly competition or anything like that. 2 guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mike Tyson's getting paid a lot of money for this fight.
I'm sure that he is.
Talking to one of the guys who was organizer, one of these, I don't want to throw no names out there or anything like that, but he was telling me how much money Mike Tyson is getting for this deal, and it's a nice chunk of change. And for me, hey, come back and get that money, and if there's some more money on the table, go out and get that. James Toney might want to fight. You know what I mean?
Can we see James Toney, Randy Couture 2 inside the boxing ring? Let's make it happen.
James Toney, Roy Jones. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do that, run it back. You know what I mean? I'm sure James Toney want one more shot. You know what I mean? At the bite of the apple. So, nah, man. I see it be a good fight, but I'm definitely going to be tuned in. I'm definitely going to be watching. Hopefully, I can get the code.
Yeah, we are media. The media code is what you're talking about.
Just $50, right? $50.
I think it's 50, 60, somewhere in there.
$49.99. I'm gonna go ahead and attribute to the cause. I'm gonna go ahead and pay for it. Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna put a little money on Mike and Roy's, and then I can only imagine
the YouTuber is gonna be on the undercard too. Is gonna be on the co-main.
Right. Logan Paul, right?
Logan Paul, yeah, Logan Paul. He's gonna be on the undercard. So Logan Paul is actually talking about fighting Roy Jones. So it's. I'm serious, man. It's a lot of talking, and Roy Jones is actually considering fighting Logan Paul. I mean,
I'm sure there's a nice check attached to that, ass whooping he'd give Logan Paul.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was Roy Jones, I'd take it on the road. You know what I mean? I mean, not Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather. If I was Floyd, I'd take it on the road, and I fight. I don't care if they made the cans. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they, YouTubers, skateboarders, whatever, if they want to fight, I will fight it and promote it. Let Don King come back and promote it, because it's just so much easy money out there for Floyd to pick up right now, man, with guys, running their mouth in the way the entertainment business is right now, with so many people just dying, mouth watering for anything, surrounded by somebody getting their ass whooping.
Yeah, I'd like to see Floyd do it again. This is my dream scenario for Floyd, though. Because I saw Connor's agent, Conor McGregor's agent, is the same agent as Manny Pacquiao, and he said there's interest in both sides to do that fight. That fight will happen eventually. I'm not holding my breath, but say that it does. Winner gets Floyd, right? Manny versus Conor. Winner gets Floyd. Manny Floyd 2. Maypac 2. Ooh. Maymac and Maypac. Either way, we got some money to spend. I don't know if Floyd would want that smoke, though, with Manny. I think Manny right now would probably give Floyd the business.
You know what? You might be right, but then again, you might be wrong. I'm not going to bet against Floyd Mayweather until the curtain come down on him. I just can't. To somebody go out there and beat him. If it's some betting money on the table, I'm gonna be betting with Floyd every time, just because I've watched him, come through his whole career. I watched Floyd when he was, first world championship, Gennaro Hernandez. No one thought Floyd, that young kid, 20, 21 years old, was going to go out there and mix it up with Gennaro Hernandez, who was a bad dude. And Floyd went out there and made him look like he had never fought a day in his life. I mean, I'm serious. And it's been like that ever since Floyd Mayweather has been inside the square circle, ever since I've been watching him. People can always go back and talk about, one or two fights that Floyd been in where, he had somewhat of a competition, somewhat of a, not a great performance like he normally would have. But Floyd Mayweather is a guy who had hand problems in his early part of his career, breaking his hand, and he figured out how to go out there and beat guys without, beating himself up at the same time. And a lot of guys just don't appreciate that. But me personally, I appreciate, what Floyd has pulled off. And I just don't think it's anybody better than him. Just because Floyd, what he said, hard work is easy work. Hard work is easy work. When you see Floyd training, that's when I look at Floyd Mayweather differently than I look at any other athlete when I watch Floyd train. Man, that dude, he be in a zone to where it's like, wow, it's like the Matrix. Some of the stuff he's doing, and you go, and then again, hard work is easy work. He seemed like he make it so easy, the stuff that he's doing, everything that he's going through, all of the motions. So me personally, man, Floyd Mayweather, the best that ever did it in that division. He'll go down as the greatest welterweight of all time. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people out there probably, got their opinion. I know you probably got your opinion, and other people on the other side, they got their opinion. But my opinion, there it is. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information, starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Shoop! We back again, y'all. Hey, man, like I say, let's get to it, man. We've talked about boxing. We've talked about, the big fight coming up on December 5th. We talk about what's going on with Mike Tyson and, Jones. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good. And I will be watching. But, man, I'm coming off of a weekend, man. And that's why I'm a little out of it right now, because I'm going to tell you, when you with the boys, when the boys show up in one place at the same time, it could get rowdy, man. The thing is, we ain't getting no younger. That's the thing. We ain't getting no younger. So, guys, we got to slow it down. I get into Orlando, Florida on Saturday afternoon. Got to take the COVID test and whatnot, later on that evening, around 6:30. And, man, I was like, man, I'm going to go get me some food here. It's like 3:00. I went, got me a rental car. I said, man, I'm gonna go get me some good, because I was hungry right there. So I stopped by Chick-fil-A and got me one of those nice little Chick-fil-A sandwiches with the cheese on it, whatnot. And with the half and half lemonade, sweet tea, with the fries.
Arnie Palmer is the only way to go.
It's good. It was real good. And then I say, but it's 3 right now. Man, I'm gonna be hungry again at 6. So let me stop at Carrabba's and get that classic, that Italian classic, with the chicken parm, you know, the lasagna, you know, the lentil soup, you know what I mean, the bread, you know, the salad. And I say, man, I'm just going to be set up, man. I know this UFC going to be coming on later on. So, man, I'm going to go get my COVID test. You know, I'm going to eat my sandwich when I get there, you know, but then I got a little while to chill, you know what I mean? Put the food over here in the fridge, you know, get ready to put it in the microwave later because the UFC is going to be on. Go take the COVID test, man, and come back, man. It's going to be on. It's going to be good. And, man, I was like 6:30 roll around, boom, got myself together, went took the COVID test. And as soon as I get off the elevator, I saw Ric Flair walking by, you know, and Rick goes, "Hey, Buck, what's going on, brother?" And I go, "Hey, Rick, what's going on, bro? I mean, what's going on? You ready, man? You ready for tomorrow, man?" "No, I'm ready for the night, man. We getting ready to party, man. Stay all night, stay a little longer, brother." And I'm like, "Oh, man, yeah, all right, bro." He said, "Come on, man. Let's go out, man. Let's go to the bar, man. Let's go to the bar." I said, "No, man, I'm finna go take the COVID test, man." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm going to the bar. And double Jack and Coke, right? I got it for you. I'll meet you at the bar." And I was like, "Oh, man." I went and got the COVID test, man. And I running JBL and a couple of the boys, Rikishi, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, man, it's going to be good, man." All right, cool. You know, took the COVID test. And I said, "I'm going to go have a drink with Rick, you know, so I can, you know, have a drink, bounce, and get back up to the hotel room and, you know, get my food and get dug in for the UFC." And got with Rick, man. I go, you know, one double jack, you know, and 7:30 roll around, you know, I'm 3 double jacks in, 8:30 roll around, I'm
Oh, no.
5 double jacks in. And about 9 o'clock roll around. And I say, "Brother, I'm tapping. I gotta go, bro. I gotta go." And Rick was pretty much down too. He was like, "All right, bro." And then somebody goes, "Nah, man, we can't leave right now. Taker's coming right now. We got to stay right here for a little while." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Taker came, and first thing he did was order a round of shots of Jack Daniels for everybody. And he told the bartender to keep them coming. So it's 10 o'clock. I'm 3 shots of Jack in now, along with the 5 double Jacks in Coke. The room is spinning at this point. I wanted to go to the nearest bathroom to throw up. And Ric Flair, he finally tapped out at 10. So I've been there for 3 hours drinking with no food on my stomach at all. And Ric Flair finally tapped out after, you know, Taker came down. And I told Take, man, I'm going to help Rick get up to his room. Trying to help myself get to my room, stumbling and holding on to the wall. And I got in my room and I saw the food, and it made me want to throw up. I couldn't even eat.
Oh, no.
The only thing I could eat was the bread and the water that I had to try to get this alcohol out of my system. And it was the worst night I ever had in my life, but the best night at the same time because we had so much fun, man, hanging out with the boys. It was just such a great night, you know, reminiscing old times, whatnot. And then we had, you know, the farewell of Taker the following night, and we were all the same guys that were in the bar. A couple of guys, they were at the farewell, you know, for Taker. So that meant we were at the end of the night. So we didn't get back to the hotel till 11. And then Rick was like, "I'll meet you at the bar, brother." And I was like, "Okay, I'll meet you at the bar, bro." I went from the bottom floor straight to the top. I didn't see anybody. I went in my room. I closed that door. I had a nice steak that I had brought from the building too, you know, nice filet mignon. I had some shrimp cocktail with some kale, you know, and some fried rice and a big thing of bread also. And I said, man, they're not gonna mess it up this time. So I went in there, man. I ate. I knew I had to get up at 5 o'clock this morning. There's no way I would have been able to, you know, run with those guys, you know, 2 nights in a row. I could have, but it just would have been a bad night. And then I wake up this morning. It's 5:45. Alarm clock goes off. My flight is at 7. I'm at the airport, so I didn't have to run or rush or anything. Go downstairs, check out, and who's coming from the bar at 5:30 in the morning? MVP. And I go, brother, what are you doing down here? What are you doing up so early? He goes, man, we've been up all night, and we just now getting ready to go to bed. I'm finna get something to eat, and then I'm gonna go to my room. So he was still in the same clothes he had on when I seen him. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, and I was like, man, there's no way. I would have been so miserable if I would have stayed up and drank last night. And I forgive me, wrestling gods, forgive me for bailing out on the boys last night, because I sure did. Bailed out. I chickened out. I couldn't do it. My stomach just could not take it 2 nights in a row, and I knew I was coming home to my kids. Now, the thing is, if it would have been one of those tours, where we were out, for 7, 14 days, that's different, But when you're getting on a flight to come home, you just don't want to have that feeling, man. You just don't. But we had such a great time, but then again, to top it off, the farewell of the Undertaker. That's what we got to talk about, man. We
got to get deep into that one. But I wanted to ask you, before we get off the story, at what point in night one, where you were there with Taker and Flair and Rikishi and all these guys, at what point of the night did this photo happen?
That's when we was good and drunk. We was having.
I was gonna say, but look at Taker. He's so happy.
Let me tell you what stands out in this photo right here. Me and Godfather was having a contest, and you probably can notice what the contest is, right? The tricep. we both were making sure we were flexing in every photo that we would take. And we were measuring each other's tricep to see who had the most definition in every photo that we would do all night. That was a contest that him and I had, man. We had so much fun, man. Tim White, the Godwins, man. Oh, man. Savio Vega, Rikishi, it's
Did you know Savio real well?
Yeah, man. Savio Vega, man. One of the best dudes you're ever going to meet, man. As well as one of the, greatest that ever was produced out of Puerto Rico. He's Puerto Rico's finest, man. And he goes out there and performed. He performed at a very high level when he was on the roster with WWF at the back in the day. He's one of those guys that you can look at and say, man, this guy is good. He's real good. And he was very, very unassuming. He wasn't the guy that was making a whole lot of noise or anything like that.
Right.
But when Savio went out in the ring and performed, he had nothing but good matches. He was a guy that knew the business inside and out. Still does. He's a guy that's still getting in the ring and partake every now and then. Well, of course, before COVID, I think even now he's back out there doing some independent stuff. So he's a guy, man, that have given his life to this business, and he loves it, man. And that moment right there, just being around the boys, man, I'm sure he treasure, moments like that, man. All of us do, man. Look at us, man. We were so happy, man. We were just talking about our generation and, how we went out and performed and how we, brought this business to a level of, where the bar is very, very high as far as entertainers, guys that go out there and we look at and go, that guy's good. That this is the guy that's on the next level. When we look at it from a different perspective, because you look at the Undertaker right now, just walking away from it. How many years?
30 as the Undertaker, and whatever he did before.
Now, do you think that we could poll this question? Do you think there will ever be another star that will have a 30-year career? Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, guys, before we even get started, Bradley, I got to put this out there. As a local-based company, guys, Gal Media believes in the concept of supporting our local businesses. I'm talking about jobs. I'm talking about everything within inside the community. So we asking our listeners, guys, you guys to hashtag keep it local when you're out there shopping, eating, or just taking out, buying services. Consider a local business and share your great experience with the hashtag keep it local. Guys, listen for sponsors that support ESPN 97.5 as well as 92.5. Then hashtag keep it local. If you want to learn more, check out ESPN97.5.com/keep it local. Do it. Do it now. I do it for you.
Hey, look at you. Pro, seasoned professional.
Hey, man, we trying to take care of business around here. We got to pay our bills. Right. At the same time, we got to talk about Survivor Series and what went down. Like I said, should we talk about Taker first before we talk about the card? Or should we?
I think we talk about Taker first.
People want to talk about Taker, man. I mean, Taker. I mean, people right now in the chat line, Taker. They want to talk about Taker. They want to hear the stories. And the thing is, Taker. I said it last night. We were talking. Night before last in the bar when I came into WWF back in the day. Taker was the first guy to, even though we, around the same age, we both from Texas. We both
Houston.
represent. Exactly, we both represent. But I still looked at Taker a little bit different than all of the rest of the boys in the locker room, even knowing that we both came from the same area, the same territory. I still looked at him a little bit different in that WWF locker room, just because he was the Undertaker and everyone else looked at him totally different than everyone else in the locker room. And I just felt like it was only right for me to give the Undertaker that respect. So I made sure when I came into WWF, I say WWE now, it wasn't like, I came in and, tried to, say, hey, man, I'm here or anything like that. No, I said, man, I'm going to come in here, and try to make this thing work out. But Taker was one of the first guys. No, Taker was the first guy to come up to me and say, hey, man, take it all in, man. It's WrestleMania, bro. Don't get no bigger than this, man. Just slow it down, have some fun out there. And I was like, wow, man, that's cool. Taker was the first guy to invite me in the TV locker room, where all the top guns would dress and, have their gear hanging and whatnot, just because it was a locker room where it was only, eight people in there. It was cool. I was like, wow, he invited me, I didn't, partake it upon myself to go dress in the TV locker room. I made sure I dressed, in the locker room with all the boys, and there was probably 30 plus guys stinking like crazy. I'm serious, but he was gracious enough to see something in me as well. You know what I mean? So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But to watch him, the way he came up, the way he did it, not just with one guy, two guys. Undertaker did it with every guy on the roster, all the way down to the Hurricane. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. My homie, Shane Helm. So
Maven. Remember, he put Maven over.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And people don't remember that kind of stuff. People don't see that kind of stuff. They don't understand. It's like the wind. They can feel it, but they can't touch it. They don't understand why the Undertaker has been around for 30 years and doing it at such a high level the whole time, being at the top of the card for all of those years. Now, I say, guys, these days, we're not going to see too many guys have 30-year careers. We're not going to probably see anyone have a 30-year career.
No.
But for the guys, say 20 years. It's a lot of guys going to work 20 years in this wrestling business, but it's not going to be a whole lot of guys work 20 years at the top of the card, making top billing, top money for all of those years. And that's why I say, man, guys should be able to, guys should look and try to pick the brain of a guy like the Undertaker and try to figure out what did he do to parlay this thing for so long. I mean, how did he become so successful? What is the tricks of the trade? That is what these young guys, man, I really think they should be really focusing on, because, man, the art of doing this is not about how fast you do it or anything like that. I watched, we're going to be talking about the main event, and I saw a quote on Twitter. No, it wasn't on Twitter. It might have been on one of the sites, and it said, "I wonder who produced that match." That's something out of this freaking world. I wonder who produced that match. Like a TV show or something. That's what wrestling has come to, where somebody on some site would make a statement like that. It's ridiculous. Working, man. We're working. All right.
Right.
Nobody producing anything. All right.
Right.
This is what's called working. A lot of those guys might get produced matches, but some guys go out and work. And that's what I saw when I watched those guys go out there and do their thing. But back to Taker, man, he was that type of guy. He was the guy that went out and worked. He was the guy that didn't need, a net or anything like that. He was the guy that was going to make you feel like you didn't need a net at the same time. And that's what a general truly is. And that's what the Undertaker was to the business, man. Awesome.
I mean, it's hard to even put it into words. When they played that little package before his farewell address, and I want to talk about the actual ceremony that you were involved in and kind of the ins and outs of that. But when you looked at the package, and you think about, this guy came in literally 30 years ago to the day yesterday, on November 22nd, 1990. And he saw the end of Hulkamania, right? He saw WWF become a publicly traded company. He saw the rise and the retirement of guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, guys like The Rock, right? Even yourself, right? When you came up to the top and then even retired, he saw that. He saw the rise of Cena, of Randy, of AJ, of any guy who's been around in the last 30 years, and he's always been that constant. He's always been relevant. He's always been in the main event of the card. When Taker comes back, it always felt like a big deal. It never felt like, oh my God, they're still bringing out the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like, get some new ideas. Never once did any wrestling fan feel that way. And you're right, to be able to do that for 3 decades, longer than I've even put feet on this earth. He's been in the main event of every wrestling show for 30 years as the same character. You as to have that, someone like that as a resource, that would be the guy, and I'm sure that everyone has, that you're constantly tugging on. And I think the fact that we've been able to look at inside his mind over the last year with stuff like the Last Ride documentary, all the interviews that he's been doing, still can't wait for him to be on this show one day, and just to hear his insight, hear his story, hear his mindset going into all these matches, the way that he looked at them. He looked at every match like it was the most important match he was ever going to wrestle in. And I think that that's the thing that some guys fall into. They just think, oh, this is a match, that we're going to do on a Monday night. This is a match that we're going to do here. This match we're going to do here. Yeah. Taker wrestled every match like it was the most important match, and that's probably why he always had the biggest connection with the fans. Have you ever heard of a louder reaction than a gong and the lights going out? Every time it happened, it was the roof blew off the place.
That's what really that's what really tugged at me more than anything was no fans in the arena. That was that celebration was supposed to be had in front of 30,000 people, man. Easy. Maybe 50,000 WrestleMania. Maybe 100,000.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a celebration for all of the fans that have, rooted for the Undertaker on all continents. Now, just think about that for a second. Think about that for 1 second. Man, that's big, isn't it? That's a monster. I can only imagine, Undertaker retiring at WrestleMania, and they had satellite from every, from 20 different countries of people watching it. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Can you picture something like that?
Sweet.
That would be so crazy, man. That would have been nuts. That's my idea right there, guys. You can bring it back 2021. You know,
I guess, and I did think about that, but it was, I guess, because it was literally 30 years to the day, right? I mean, 30 years to the day. He couldn't do something like that again until 40 years in the business. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it had to happen at that time, I understand, at that event. A retirement of The Undertaker does seem like it should be at WrestleMania, but at least his last match was at WrestleMania, or I do want to ask you that here in a minute. The no fans thing was a little odd, but what was so cool about it was when he was cutting the promo, the spots where they'd insert the chants, and I know you were in the arena, so you probably didn't get to hear, but where they inserted the chants, it was like at the natural moments where that would have happened anyway. So I do want to give WWE production a big shout out because it was perfect that way.
Man, the one moon shot. It's the best shot I've seen in quite some time, man. He was just standing there and the moon was to the right. Awesome shot, guys. Stick around, you're in the Hall of Fame. We back. Yeah, man. Something you wanted to ask me about?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a few things, but one of which was this. For the celebration itself, the ceremony, there's so many of the guys who got to come down, right, and be in the ring for Taker. It was Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Mankind, Savio Vega, Jeff Hardy. The list kind of went down and down and down. You came out as well. What was the? Because what I would have loved to have is when y'all were all in the ring for everybody to get to say something about Taker. You know, before the Taker came out to the ring. What was going on in your mind though when you were in the ring with all those guys, knowing what was about to happen?
Oh man, I look at it a little bit different, man. We were just there to, be there for that moment for the Undertaker. That moment wasn't for us it was for the Undertaker. It was for him.
Right.
It was his moment. I think if anything that we would have said, could have overshadowed, what he said, because, we know the Undertaker, he never was a guy that was going to talk a whole lot. And one thing you don't want to do, man, is give a bunch of old wrestlers a microphone.
Well, Flair was out there, so that might have been a problem.
We'd have been out there all night. I'm telling you,
and then let me tell you, 1993. Woo!
In the main event, they got to go straight to the main event. That's exactly the reason why they say, man, don't let them suckers say nothing. No, it wasn't my moment, man. Other than
but let me ask you this: did you feel a certain way being asked to be a part of that moment? Because you think about all the opponents that he's had, all the guys that he's worked, all the people who've come and gone in the 30 years that he's been there. There was only, a dozen guys that were requested to be in the ring at that time. And I would have to think that Undertaker approved every single person who went in there or picked every single person who went in there. I don't know the behind the scenes of it, but that's just my assumption. Did it mean something to you to be a part of that moment?
Yeah, man, I must say, I really was honored, man. I really felt a certain way because there again, man, I don't know. You never know where you stand until something like that happens. with someone. I know me and Taker, man, we're really good friends, you know. Of course, a lot of people know that. I mean, we broke bread together, you know.
Right.
I stayed at his house before, you know. We played golf together, you know what I mean? So we were really, really tight. But you know, I know I was not like a original WWE guy. You know, I wasn't one of those guys that had been there in the war fighting against WCW. You know what I mean? And I always felt like, you know, the WWE guys had more of a bun than, you know, a WCW guy coming in bunding. You know, it's almost like, yeah, it's kind of like an outsider a little bit. But when something like that happened, you go, wow, man, it's pretty cool, you know. Because, you know, I was definitely called and I was asked to be a part of it and to be a part of that group. You know, I've said that before, man. I've said that before, and I talked to the young guys about this. God told me about, you know, being champion in the ring and being champion out of the ring all the time. That's what I tried to bring to the dance. That's what I tried to go out there and do. I always said, man, I wanted my name to ring with the best wrestlers in the world when this thing was all over with. And when you look at the guys that was in that ring, you know, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, you know, Nature Boy, Ric Flair, Godwin's, Mick Foley,
Nash.
and man, Big Nash, you know, it's a hell of a group of talent, man. It's a hell of a group of talent to be a part of that group, man. It was awesome. It was awesome for me to be at the, you know, be one of the guys. I mean, did you say it was 12?
About 12, yeah.
To be one of the 12, to be there physically to honor the Undertaker, make his last walk. That meant a hell of a lot to me. It really did. It really did. I was kind of choked up about it a little bit, but I just composed myself, you know, because I was looking good. That suit I had on, man, the shoes, man, the ostrich, man, it was looking real good too. Yeah. So I was like, man, just make sure you don't slip on the ramp on the way down.
I saw when you did your intro, you said, I'm just gonna kick it up a little bit. Legs gonna go up a little bit.
I thought if I did it too, bang, everything would come out from up under me and I would have went flying. So I say, man, just be careful. Do everything slow and think about it before you do it.
Oh, I noticed that. I did notice that. Now, were you ringside or were you backstage whenever Vince was in the middle of the ring?
We were backstage.
You're back. So you got to watch it on the monitor, I'm assuming, similar to people on television. I have seen Vince McMahon, again, the entirety of my life, and I know that you've been around him, obviously, way more than I ever have. He looked the most genuinely emotional that I've maybe ever seen him. You know, he kept looking up to the sky like, and I understand why. I think he was trying to fight back the tears, right? I mean, he looked like this is a creation that he probably saw that he had a lot to do with and that meant so much to his company, right? Without The Undertaker, I mean, who knows where WWE would have been? Because, again, he was the constant. He was that guy who was always on the top. When you needed somebody to be made, you go to The Undertaker. When you need a big main event, you go to The Undertaker. All the way up until last year, right?
Yeah,
you always could go to The Undertaker. And you saw how much it meant to Vince. You know, what were you thinking when you saw Vince getting choked up like that?
Nah, man. I felt the same thing. You know, I mean, I got a wrestling company too. You know, and when you're talking about your own, you know, every time we had it, freaking Rowards, and I'm talking about my guys. You know, I feel a certain way about talking about my creation and what I've done and what I know my guys are going to do for me one day. You know, Taker's going to be there for Vince forever. You know, he's going to be a guy that's going to be in his corner, forever. And he's one of Vince's soldiers, and to be one of those soldiers, man, it means a lot too. You know what I mean? I'm serious, because in every war we need a that guy that's going to lead. And Vince McMahon has been that guy that have led for so long, and that era right there with Taker, Stone Cold, Rock, you know. Man, Vince was one of the boys too. You know what I mean? He was just right. He was right there with him, man. But he was still always the boss. He was still always the guy that was riding the ship, and trying to take us to a certain place. And when you're doing that, you take a lot of people with you. You got to take a lot of people with you. And Vince have taken a lot of people with them along this ride. People can say what they want to say just because, a lot of times people just don't look at it as a job. You know what I mean? But of course, I'm sure they got a lot of love for each other, Vince and Taker. But along the ride, man, don't think it was never for a moment not business. At the same time, you just got to know how to separate the two, and I think they really was able to do that and create something very, very special at the same time, and put WCW out of business. So it was a ride, man. That was a ride,
Right.
like I say, because there again, Undertaker, Mean Mark, he's the guy that came through WCW. We saw him. Do you think for a minute we will be celebrating Mean Mark today?
No. Mean Mark wouldn't have got a lot of run.
Exactly my point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to be able to know exactly how you got here, man, and what this thing, how this thing was really created. Back then, the Undertaker, a gimmick, Paul Bearer, together created something that will live through the history of, in the annals of time as far as wrestling goes. No one will ever be able to top, a gimmick like that.
No
one could ever even do a gimmick like that ever again, because if we did give it to someone and he was supposed to be the Undertaker on Monday Night Raw, hell, on Thursday night, he'll be a chef on Twitch.
I do want. That was funny. I do want to ask you brought up Paul Bear. How cool of a moment though was that? Stop laughing at your own joke. That makes it less funny. No, I'm kidding.
That was a good joke.
It was pretty good. I did enjoy that. How cool though was it for Taker when? And I have a couple more questions about Taker. I know we got to take a break. We know what? I'll ask you on the other side. We're laughing too much, but I'll ask you on the other side of the break. Maybe sit us to break. Booker T.
We'll be back in a minute. Shut up.
Are you still laughing through the whole break?
I was, man. I had to wipe my eyes, man.
That one was pretty funny. I will give it to you.
Man.
I will give it to you. But I wanted to ask you, we're still talking about The Undertaker's final farewell at Survivor Series that went down last night on the WWE Network. Booker T, of course, was involved in all the festivities that went on. But I want to ask, what was really cool for me as a longtime wrestling fan and obviously a big Undertaker fan was to see at the end, even at the end of his career. Now think about this. We talked about in this whole show, probably goes down as the best guy north of 6'10" of all time, right? One of the best character ever. The only guy who's ever going to have a 30-year run. He could be a Hall of Famer 8 times over for each one of his iterations of The Undertaker, from the purple gloves to the gray gloves to the mask to the ministry to the American Badass and so on and so forth. All those things, the world titles, all the accomplishments. He thought, the last thing I want people to see of me in the squared circle, I'm going to drop down to one knee, I'm going to do the Undertaker pose, and I'm going to give it up for Paul Bearer, right? That hologram of Paul Bearer appeared on the screen doing the, oh, yes, right? And Taker just sat there and posed to him and gave it up for him, right? Gave him his moment, right? Even though he's not with us anymore, made sure to say, don't y'all forget, because that package of the two of them really is what sold The Undertaker from the early 90s into the late 90s, right? The Paul Bearer and Undertaker were so synonymous. I thought that was a really cool and classy thing for Undertaker to do.
You know, it's just like for me, the one thing I needed at the Hall of Fame ceremony with my brother and I was a photo of Sherry Martell. I needed that photo up behind us just so I could pay respects to Sherry Martell and, you know, her being that legitimizer, that one that made us, you know, real. People looked at us totally different when Sherry Martell was, you know, placed with us. And I'm sure, man, Paul Bearer, man, we got to give Paul Bearer his props, man. That guy, man,
absolutely,
he was a legendary figure in the business. I mean, he really, people, you know, need to do their research and really go in depth and understand what Paul Bearer really, really did to the business. He wasn't just a character. He was a guy that contributed more in so many more ways behind the scenes than one would know. His knowledge of the business as far as what guys' roles need to be and how they should go out there and play them. It goes much, much deeper. And for Undertaker, you know, to know that, for Mark to know exactly, you know, man, I'm with Paul Bearer. This is huge.
Right.
And
Percy Pringle.
Oh man, it's gonna take me somewhere, you know, that perhaps I could never take myself, you know, and to appreciate it and give Paul that props. It was awesome. That was the best part of that whole thing for me was having Paul Bearer just there with the urn, you know, it just made me feel good, man. It just made me feel a certain way. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Now, the obvious last question regarding this, because The Undertaker did say it's time for The Undertaker to rest in peace, which actually, when I saw him say that, it shook him a little bit, and it shook me. When he said that, I was like, oh, wow. The Undertaker, you know, this is him shedding the character and laying him to rest. But is it? Will we ever see The Undertaker wrestle again? That's the question everyone's always going to ask. Will it happen? Can it happen? After that emotional of a send-off, right?
You know, my thing is, I really think it may be. I think it should be, especially coming off of perhaps the one thing that it's going to be hard for anyone to top going forward, including himself, and that's the Boneyard match.
I agree.
You know, so I feel like it's really no better time to say farewell and leave them with a movie to watch for the rest of their lives at the same time. And you're going to be able to watch me do it the way I've done it, you know, since the beginning. You know, you're going to be able to watch, you know, The Undertaker go out there and be the American Badass, The Undertaker, all in one, you know. So I just think it's you know, a great way to walk away. You know, I really don't think he's going to be able to top that that farewell Boneyard match.
And think about it. In the most unique WrestleMania of all time, right, that spanned 2 days, there was something like 18 matches, or felt that much, or 15, 16 matches. There were a lot. And there's no crowd. Right at the beginning of the pandemic, after coming off some less than, and this isn't me saying it, this is him saying it, in his mind, less than stellar performances inside the ring against Roman and Goldberg, most notably, Undertaker can go out there at WrestleMania and have the only match that anyone is going to remember. That's the only match that anybody will ever talk about from WrestleMania 35, right?
Yeah.
I can remember.
I don't remember a whole lot. I remember the girls doing the match in the building and were jumping. But I don't remember.
That was Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I don't even remember exactly what it was. Yeah,
but for him to create, and along with AJ and Triple H and everybody else who was involved in the match itself, but for him to wrestle a match that had never been done before in a style that he had never participated in before on the grandest stage of all against a guy who he had a great buildup with verbally, but not a lot of physical altercation with, the guy he thought he was going to put a bow on it inside the squared circle. Because if you're going to do a boneyard match, you don't think AJ Styles would be the first guy you think of, right? You think, oh, maybe we'll do Bray and Taker in a boneyard match, right? Maybe we'll do Sting and The Undertaker in a boneyard match. AJ's a guy, if you want to get a 5-star match out of somebody in the squared circle, the 20 by 20, that's who you go with. All those things aside, Taker's still able to reinvent himself in his final match, invent an entire new match, and literally get to ride into the moonlight, not off into the sunset, ride into the moonlight with Metallica playing him out. There's no when I saw it at the time, I think we talked about it on the show, I said, if there's ever a time to go out, you had the match of the year at WrestleMania.
Nah.
In a new match. I mean, it's the best. It's absolute best.
You ask me, that's why I say, of course he could come back. But I just think it was a fitting way to go ahead and exit and, man, live some life, man. Live life and have some fun. You know what I mean? He got, his young daughter, she was there doing this one dance that, created called a slinky. And, he's had a lot of years, man, to watch her grow up and have some fun and do something other than just entertain everyone else. Do something other than just, bringing pleasure to, everyone else. And the thing is, I trust me, I understand exactly where he is right now because I loved my wrestling career. I loved being in the ring. I loved performing. But I'm going to tell you right now, I so love being where I'm at right now in my life, other than this pandemic. If we can, get this vaccine, get this Moderna, this Pfizer, it's another one just came out. What's that other one? I
haven't heard that one.
It just came out as 70% active. You know what I mean? But
the other two are like 90 and 95. So maybe
I take all three of them. Like I say, you do that, they gotta work. But nah, man, it's about being able to enjoy this thing, man, and spend some of that money. You know what I'm saying, man? I still got W money, man, in vaults. You know that I'm trying to, unlock and trying to spend it, man. Because I told my kids ain't gonna be no money left. It might be some assets, but ain't gonna be no cash. I'm spending it all. So definitely.
You can't take it with you. And you know what? If there's any guy though, honestly, who's earned the right to sit back out on his porch off a lake and go fishing every day, eat what he wants to, drink what he wants to, do what he wants to, and enjoy the fruits of his labor, it is The Undertaker.
No, man, I'm a firm believer. I'm serious. And I'm not just playing as far as being able to kick back, enjoy it. I know me and the kids, we thinking about jumping in the RV tomorrow and just going to Galveston, just to hang out on the beach, fly my helicopters and, play my Switch, come back on Wednesday. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. Just because, man, you got to be able to enjoy life just because you just don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. The big transition is going down with Biden and Trump, man. I want to give Trump props, man, for, go ahead and letting his team, make that thing happen. You didn't get the news on that?
I haven't gotten that yet, but
man, I was looking at it earlier, man. Biden got the okay as far as all the states that went on and signed off on everything, and Trump did the right thing and told his team to go ahead and make this thing happen, man, because a lot of people's lives are at stake right now, and I think that's the most important thing. The fight is one thing, man. I know Trump, man. He ain't gonna go down without a fight. Somebody's gonna take a couple of shots. You know what I mean? But I'm just glad the right thing is being done, and hopefully we can, move forward in life, man. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
The Academy.
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. Man, this show went by quick, man.
Quick.
I'm serious.
Real quick.
It's our last segment here, guys. So if you got anything worthy you want to comment on, and if it's good enough, we'll talk about it. But of course, we got to talk about the card, man. What went down? What interests you most as far as the card goes? Gobbledygooker.
Well, the Gobbledygooker winning the 24/7 title was pretty great, I will say, as a long-term fan. I will say this, because I didn't actually think it when I said it.
The thing is, before you say that, I just realized, because I never really got off into it, Gooker is spelled just like Booker.
Was it you the whole time? Was that the idea? You know how WWE has to change your name before you come in?
When I saw that last, I was reading, I'm like, wait, I didn't know it was Gooker.
Wouldn't that be funny if that was the big plan for Booker T when you came in? Booker, we got an idea for you.
Brother, what I would have said, just like Owen Anderson, how much does that pay?
I'm going to be the Gooker, brother. King Gooker. Hey, here's the thing. I didn't think it was going to happen, but when I said it, but last night watching it happen, I was actually surprised. Remember, I was asking you, where's this whole Lana getting put through the table thing going? I said, Is she just going to be like the last one standing at Survivor Series and get a crowning moment? And that's what happened. I was shocked that that's actually what they went through with. So that stuck out to me. But really, the two matches that I thought stole the show was the main event. Was phenomenal between Drew and Roman. Those guys have so much chemistry, and people forget that they had a match at WrestleMania 35. It's kind of a forgotten WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
And that Drew wasn't this Drew. This Drew blows that Drew out of the water. The Drew from just 2 years ago. It blows him out of the water. He is so locked in right now. So that match I think we got to talk about. And then Sasha and Asuka had a really, really good back and forth. Those two have natural chemistry. I think those are the two matches of the night for me.
No, I've been telling people, all the time, I get a lot of heat, when I say, I don't like Sasha Banks, when I say that kind of stuff. But I say that kind of stuff for a reason, man, because I'm talking about Sasha Banks, the character. I'm not talking about the person.
Right.
I'm talking about the character. And sometimes certain characters, they kind of rub you the wrong way. When you're a fan, and I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective when I talk like that. But when you watch Sasha go out and perform, she is extraordinary as far as knowing how to make you feel a certain way when you watch the match. She knows how to draw you in at the right times. She knows how to, get that one thing to make you, jump it to the edge of your seat, and go, oh man, one of those type of deals.
Right.
She's ranked very, very high in my book as far as women wrestlers of all time that has ever stepped inside the squared circle. And I said that same thing, about Asuka, Asuka being someone from Japan that don't speak English, but still being able to go out there, knowing how to go out there speak the universal language of professional wrestling, and to go out there and play the story, as a really really great actor, and to make sure she hit all of her cues, and hit all of her cues properly. Being someone that don't speak English, if so, not very much at all, tells me that she's special. She knows how to work, and those two together, I said that was going to be a really, really good match because you got two great storytellers and you got two women that don't mind going out there and getting into a fight. That part right there is what Sasha Banks has built her whole thing off of in WWE. I'm gonna tell you, she ain't coming to try to. Of course, she makes sure she take care of herself and she's well kept. All right. But when she comes to play in the ring, it's about getting down and dirty.
You're telling me.
Sasha Banks. I'm serious, man. And that's what makes her different than a lot of the good-looking girls on the roster. She's a good-looking girl that don't mind getting into a fight, and then it actually looked like a real fight going on, like two girls in the club. You know what I mean? So that's my thing with Sasha, and that's what make her work, I think, so much more than so many of the girls in the locker room.
Yeah, these two could have wrestled all night, man. Because you're right about Sasha Banks, and right now you can always tell when a performer from any kind, right? It doesn't matter if we're talking about a stand-up comedian all the way to a wrestler to a Hollywood actor, whomever. You can tell when they're feeling themselves. And I mean that in a good way, right? Where they have all the confidence in the world that might even border on a little cockiness, but they use that and they channel it into their craft, whatever it might be. Sasha's doing that right now. With this Mandalorian coming out, her being the women's champion right now, she walks out of the curtain with a even higher degree of swagger than she did prior just a few months ago. She is feeling it right now on all cylinders. And the thing is, for her to go out there and work the way that she is, doing all the small things so well and having that chemistry with Asuka, to where I'm popping, watching it on my couch on the iPad, where I'm jumping at the false finishes. She's doing that with no crowd reaction. Her and Asuka, no crowd reaction. And they're able to go out there and paint that canvas and tell the story that they told. Hats off to those two ladies who just went out and rocked it. I can't praise them both enough.
DiCaprio, man,
Yep.
Shakespeare, two going out there, and I was talking about that, and I know this is probably going to get picked up. I'm not going to even talk about it. I'm not going to even say it. No, I was watching on the New Day match, and they had a really, really good match with Street Profits.
Right.
And that was another match that, I was really, really looking forward to seeing. But I'm going to tell you, those little bitty nuances, I don't know if it was because they didn't have that real crowd in the arena, and, but I'm not going to elaborate on it or anything like that. But it's something that I teach my students, which is when you have a moment and you let that moment, get away from you, a lot of times, most of the times, especially in a wrestling match, you're never going to get it back. And I saw a lot of those moments that, oh man, I equated to going to the lake and hooking a big bass. You know what I mean? If you can hook that bass, it really mean, oh, look what I got. You know what I mean? But if you don't hook them, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna get that feeling. That's what I'm talking about. If you can understand it.
Yes, no, I do agree with you. Real quick, though, you want to talk about hooking a big bass, do a little sporting game, you know what I mean? Maybe you want to work on your golf game, Booker T, over this Thanksgiving break. Coming up, I want you to take the day off work and play a fun round of golf with one of your favorite sports stations, your favorite, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 for the occasional invitational presented by SiteJab.com, benefiting Provision. This year's tournament will take place Thursday, December 3rd at 11:30 a.m. at the Wildcat Golf Club, when each golfer will receive beverages from our local beer provider, St. Arnold's Brewery. They'll have lunch, dinner, 18 holes of golf. You can register right now at ESPN975.com for the occasional invitational. That's ESPN975.com.
Oh, heck yeah, man. That's what it's all about, man. Get you around the golf. I'm trying to get out. When you said the tournament was again?
December 3rd.
December 3rd. I'm trying to get out Thursday and play me a little short round. Me and my brother, we're gonna, I'm trying to brush up, man. I went to the driving range like a couple of days ago, actually, before I went out of town. I guess that was on Friday. I went to the driving range, and brother, I don't know what it is, but I found something. And I'm serious. I'm talking about my drives are like literally long and straight with about 112 miles per hour swing speed. And that equates to about 275 yards or better. And my thing right now, man, I'm serious, man. My last 2 rounds of golf, 39 and a 37. I only played 9 holes on both rounds, 39 and a 37, two over and a 4 over. I'm telling you guys, I'm getting ready to break it down. I'm going out and playing my homeboy's Tuscasita golf course. He's a pro out there. Ken Kershaw, big shout out to my homeboy Ken Kershaw. If you out there listening right now, I'm coming to play around on Thursday, and make sure you had that same golf cart you hooked me up with last time. Brother, I was on a $20,000 golf cart.
What?
It was bad.
How can you make a golf cart 20 G's?
Wait, 25,000, I'm sorry.
How can you make it 25 G?
Brother, it had everything on it. It was like oh my God, it went about 50 miles per hour. You know, I could get to my ball whoop, like that. You know what I mean? I'm there. It was unbelievable. It was the most coolest golf cart that you could ever imagine. But definitely, kid, I'm on my way out. But the main event, Roman Reigns. But let's talk about it. We got about a minute.
Yes. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre. These two, like you said, two heavyweights going out there swinging, throwing hands. Roman Reigns ends up being the victor. Yeah. Booker T, what is your quick analysis of this contest?
No, man, those guys went out there. They're, again, two heavyweights. Went out there and went back and forth, stuff that I like to see. It was a great match. It was a great story. Like the person said, man, I wonder who's the
producer
who produced that match. You know, no, it was no production, man. It was as real as it gets as far as professional wrestling go. To the business finest right now, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I always said Roman Reigns was top billing. He's a guy that everyone that worked with Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, brings them up to another level. So I give that match top billings, and congratulations to Roman Reigns, still holding on to the yard just for a little bit, little time longer. Hey guys, that's our show for today, man. We got to get up out of here, man. Time is ticking, time is wasting, time is money. I want to thank you guys for being inside the Hall of Fame. Bradley, again, as always, the boat was in the house. Guys, we up out this mug. See you in a couple of days.